Hello and welcome to episode 17 of the Sweet Lavender Knits podcast. My name is Christine and I'm coming to you from just outside of Toronto in Ontario, Canada. Thank you very much for joining me today. Today is July the 29th, 2018, and I welcome you if you are new, and welcome back to those that are returning. This is a podcast mainly about knitting, sewing, and other crafts as I fancy them. I shouldn't say sewing. It's been a while since I've been sewing, but I do have some sewing to share with you today. I do some crocheting as well. You can find me on social media on Instagram as sweet_lavender1 and on Ravelry as Sweet Lavender 1. We also have a lovely group on Ravelry, and it's called the Sweet Lavender Knits group. So come on by, check us out, and if you are up to it, do join in, and you can partake in all of the giveaways, and definitely join in with the chatter that's going on the Let's Chat thread. We have a few things going on, but before then, why don't you grab your needles, a favorite project that you'd like to work on, something nice to drink, and let's get started. So I thank you, a very big thank you to all of you who have been leaving me lovely comments, both here on YouTube as well as on the Ravelry group. It's been really encouraging to read all your comments, and just to know that there is really a sense of a knit group, and that's the whole point of what we're trying to create, or what it is that I wanted to achieve with this podcast, was because I don't have a knit night to go to, that this would be my knit night. And on that note, I do have to say that a few of you have asked me if I would be doing live Instagram live and having a knit night that way, or if I've considered it. I did consider it, but it looks like at this point it would not work out so well for me, just because I'm not able to knit and or to be able to knit without looking at my knitting for too long. And it might be a little boring for you if I'm not really like engaging with you while I knit, or if it's just going to be talk, then this would be I think a better way for you to be able to knit and listen to me while I am able to show you all that I have been doing. That to say, I have not completely abandoned the idea. It will be sort of at the back of my mind, and that is something that I would like to work towards. So hope these podcasts or these videos on YouTube will suffice for now. Yes, so today is Sunday afternoon, and it is looking more like evening or night because it's so gloomy. It's raining outside, and it is quite warm as well, so it's a little uncomfortable. And I don't know, it was too hot, and then now it's raining. The rain is good. We've been having rain on and off for a few days now, which is nothing to complain about because the garden gets watered, and that's always good. But it just makes it a very lazy Sunday afternoon, where I actually dozed off for a bit and had to wake up, and I was sort of contemplating on whether it's still worth, without much light, to be doing the podcast. But it is coming very close to the end of July, and hope you will bear the hair and the face for today. It's a little out of sorts, but yes, I was quite eager to podcast. It's just been a busy July altogether. I took a week off from work and had all these plans on what I wanted to do, but most of the time I was either just catching up on things that were half done, or not feeling completely well, and it's been like that over the last week also. So just it might just be the heat, or I don't know what it is. It's just whatever it is in the system, it's not leaving. And so anything I can put off, I have been putting off, and unfortunately the podcast was something I put off last week. So yes, here we are, and let's just move on with the knitting content, because I'm sure you're eager to see some of that. So let's see what's on the calendar. First of all, we have the Let's Knit KAL, which is going on since April the 15th, and it's coming to a close August the 15th. So any more that you are working on and you can try and squeeze in for the FO thread, then go ahead, post it there. But it is till August the 15th, so I will take any entries up until the 15th, the end of the 15th. And yes, just have fun with it. That's the whole point of it. And we've been knitting larger garments, anything that's taken as I shouldn't say garments. It could have been any project that took you a long time, so 3 months at least. And you can have multiple entries. You can have whips as long as they were 50% or less. To start off with, and yeah, the whole point is to have fun. And there is also a winner that will be drawn from the chatter thread at random, of course. So don't forget to put your entries there, however much you've done, even if you're not able to complete something. That might be me, but of course I'm not eligible for my own prizes. But yeah, do post there, because I think everyone who is part of the KALs and the just the chatter going on in the group are really getting to know each other and just having fun with it, and that is the whole point of this. So please do join in. If you haven't, if you have a whip that is 50% or less, go for it. You still have half of 2 weeks or more, so go for it. There is also the other Operation Whip Control that we are running since when did we start that? In May, and going to September for now. And the point of that is just to get some of our projects that have been lingering on the needles off the needles. And I have to say, my third project on my list was I forget what the project is called. It was a shawl. But instead, and I thought, oh, I still haven't picked it up, and I was feeling a little bad for myself in having sort of given up, which I didn't intentionally. But then I realized that the other project, which is a work in progress I have to share with you today, is an item also on that list. Excuse me. Is an item also on that list. So yes, I am still working on my whips, and I hope all of you are as well. It's just just cheering each other on to have some fun and get some of the projects off the needles. The third thing we have is the July giveaway. So if you are new, it is just my way of thanking you for your support and for being a member of the Ravelry group, as well as subscriber to my YouTube channel. And it is just a monthly giveaway. I will be closing it at the end of July, which is in a couple of days, and then drawing at random a winner. So if you haven't already done so, go ahead and put in your entry there. I had prompt, which was how you enjoy summer and what kind of crafts you do in the summer. So go check that out. And yes, feel free to enter, one entry per person. And also the prize will be pattern of your choice on Ravelry, $10 and under, from your queue. So if you are the winner, then you can just tell me which one out of your queue you would like, and I will gift it to you. And yeah, these are just monthly giveaways I try to do when possible, and if we don't have too many other things going on. So yeah, go on by and do join in if you haven't done so already. Now moving on to some finished objects, but let me take a sip of my water just before that. And today it seems so refreshing to drink water because it's quite humid outside with the rain, and you know, the temperatures being a little high too. So yes, I realize this podcast is not mainly about weather, but I seem to be talking about it all the time. All right, first of all, finished objects. I was just about to show you one of my whips, but we're not there yet. So these are the gray sky socks that I've knit for my 18-year-old, and I have two of them and they're finished. However, I do not have a sock blocker for this size, so I have to show it to you like this. So with this socks, let me just show you close up. It is a 3x1 rib pattern that I did. It's a broken rib, and I really like the pattern that it creates with the broken rib. The cuff I did was a 1x1 cuff, and I really like the look of that more than the 2x2. I think it has a nicer look to it, and I used the Chinese waitress cast on and a heel flap and gusset with the Eye of Partridge heel flap, which is really showing off well on this yarn. And then just a round toe, and I Kitchenered it. So oh, okay, so let me tell you what the yarn is. The yarn is by Riverside Studios, and I call these my Gray Skies socks, and the yarn colorway is dusk, so it was very close to that. And the pattern I've already told you. The needles that I've used for them are Chiago needles, interchangeables, 2.25 millimeters, and I always refer to my needles by millimeters because I never know, I can't remember the US sizes off my head, and I don't really use them, so it's always going to be by millimeters. The other thing is, let me just show you, and I don't know if you can see the difference, but oh yes you can. Okay, so you'll notice that the toes have different colors to them, and that is because this yarn, as lovely as it was, I kind of ran out of it. So I knew I would, as soon as I started the foot, I knew I didn't have enough yarn for to complete the foot. And I think I mentioned that on the last podcast. So what I did is I just found, I was going to do like a really contrasting color. I didn't know how to finish it off. I was even contemplating on whether to order another skein of this same yarn, but I didn't want to waste time on it, and really it was just the toe that I would have to, a little bit more than toe. I probably had to do about this much of it. So what I ended up doing was just grabbing some leftover yarn I had, and I didn't write it down, but I'll put it up on the screen. And using that, and the technique that I used to bring in the color was just to fade in the color. So basically do one row of the old yarn and one row of the new yarn, and kind of keep doing that until I ran out of the old yarn, and then I just continued knitting with the new yarn or the other color. So yeah, and I actually like that. It is a very nice way to use up yarn, and just that technique of fading in the colors. It was very nice, and you know, even while I knitted it, yes, given that this is slightly a different how do you say, different feel of yarn to this, very slightly. This is just a little bit softer, but I'm sure my son won't mind that. Actually, I did ask him and he was fine with it. He said, you know, no one, it's gonna be my toes, and really, if I have them in shoes, no one's gonna see it, and if I'm not wearing shoes, I'm just being comfortable, and that's fine. So that was a very sensible answer, and it saved me a lot of time, which is great. So you're done. One pair of socks. Now on to some more FOs, and these are not knitting projects, but knitting related. Or I have these 3 project bags that I was able to sew up. And I mentioned on my last episode that I was shopping for a sewing machine, and I came across a really good deal on a Singer Stylist, a 7258, and it had all of the features that I was looking for at a very reasonable price, so I went ahead and got it. So as soon as I got my sewing machine, which was just the last few days of my week off, I had to sit down and get some sewing done. And so these project bags were already cut and ready to go, and so it was very quick for me to put them together. So let me just show you very quickly. I'm thinking that I will make up some project bags and just keep them, so that anytime I have to do giveaways, I can pop a project bag in as well. So this is the first one, and you'll see the fabric that I have in one of my previous project bags. I love the fabric. It's really nice, and I've used linen on top. I don't know what it's called. It's not linen. It's a raw cotton, I think it is. I'm not sure. I just realized I have a thread sticking out. Okay, there we go. And I got these labels, so I popped them on as well, just to see how it would look, and I think that was a nice touch. If I were to send it off to somebody, it will look nice. And it has this pink interior, which I've used as the tab on all of them, and all 3 of them have the same. It's not very neat and ironed inside. Like, I haven't pressed it really, but yeah, but I finished it off nicely. Like, it's got no raw edges inside at all, and it's a box bottom, and that's the first. So there, and they're all zippered bags this time, so I really like them. And then the second is a flowery pattern. I thought it was very summer-like. I might end up using some of these bags actually, because I think they're very easy to carry with me to work too, the size of it, and it'll easily fit about 2 skeins of yarn with a project like a shawl project. Would work really well. And yes, there you go. And it's not a promotion of the bags at all, it's just me sharing what I've finished. Okay, and yes, there, and that has the label on there as well. Yeah, and I used the main fabric and the contrast on the bottom here. And the third, I did the same, although I realized this pink doesn't really go with it. Or maybe it does, because there is some pink in there, but yeah, the pink is on the inside as well. And there again, and I love this pattern. It's so vibrant and nice. There. So that's what I did, and it took me all of maybe a few hours, 2 hours at the most. And it was really simple, and I got to try out the machine, and I loved it. And I can see myself sewing a little more. If I could get more time. And isn't that the story always? I'm moving on to works in progress. My first work in progress is housed in this lovely project bag by Herbsplat Creation, and that is by Regina of Herbsplat Regina on Instagram, and she has her website. She's a yarn dyer in Germany, and this is back in the day when she used to sew project bags as well. So I really love this bag, and I think this project that I have in there, which is my Zweig sweater, is very appropriate because they're both like very fall colored. Here it is. Here is my sweater so far. I'm still working on it and still trying to get through the rows. There's the lovely yoke. If you don't know the Zweig sweater, you can just look it up on Instagram, and there are so many variations on it, like the colors and color combinations, and it is beautiful. And here is where I am. So where is my marker? I think I'm halfway through a round. Oh, that is terrible. Oh, here we go. Okay, so the last time I showed you, I was here, and since then I've been able to put some put a few inches on, which is really good. I'm thrilled about it. And you know, thank you very, very much for all of you who encouraged me just to keep going on with the textured pattern, because I have been, and I'm happy with it. Whoops. Like, you can see it more now, even though it's subtle. You can see it more, and you are right, all of you are right, that it does look nice. And if I can to go on with it, you know, I was at two minds about what to do, or you know, was it slowing me down? But the truth of it is, I do enjoy the process, and you know, I have accepted the fact that this is going to take me a while, and you know, I may not be the fastest knitter or anywhere close to that, but at least I will enjoy what I'm knitting while I'm knitting it. And yeah, there it is. And I was super excited when I came across yes, I will just wear my Zweig sweater like this for today. I was super excited when I came across a post on Instagram. I think it was Vogue Knitting, and on the cover they had a model wearing mustard pullover. It was the same mustard, and they said it was the color of the year for fall. And I thought, wow, that's amazing, because that's the color I've picked for my Zweig sweater. Now all I need to do is have it ready for fall, and then, you know, I'll be able to wear it and be in vogue. So that is where I'm aspiring to. Let's see. But yeah, and you can notice, like, the speckles have really increased. It looks like it's almost a different yarn I'm knitting with, like this and that. And I don't know if it's the skein or what, because I was picking the skeins from the most to the least, and looks like this one has a lot of speckling on it. But I think in the grand scheme of things, it'll all be fine. It's fine. And I hope the sweater comes, well, I hope I'm done with it soon so that I can, you know, enjoy it. We'll see. That is the first. It's a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. I almost feel like I don't need to introduce it anymore because it's so popular. But it is a lovely pattern to knit. And if you are new to yoked sweaters, I would say that it's not too difficult. Following the lace pattern, it is not. It's very well charted, and you know, it's just being able to read the chart And then it is a very simple textured pattern, which I am using again without a cable needle. So I'm using twisted stitches that was suggested by Andrea from the Fruity Knitting podcast. I think it was episode 53, to give her credit. Those twisted stitches are really working out for me, and they are very much a time saver. So yes, and it's just, you know, you don't have to use a cable needle, and it's a little less fiddly. That's all it is. I mean, if you like the cable stitch, then by all means, it's as beautiful. The next project I have is the Arrow Caterpillar Shawl by Alpenrose. I had to read the name off because I don't refer to this shawl by name. Like, even when I think about it, I'm not thinking of the project by name. I just think of it as my mohair project, because this is the first time I'm using mohair, and I really love this. So it doesn't look like much, but I have put in quite a bit of work, but because these are short rows, it doesn't amount to much as in way of length. But I've gone past the second slit now, and for anyone who doesn't know this pattern, it is sort of like a cowl where it's like a really long arrow shaped shawl. The pointy edge goes through these slits and creates a cowl look to it, which is very nice in the picture, and I hope it will be once mine is finished as well. So I believe, I don't know if there's a right and wrong side, and see, I was holding it wrong again. Okay, there, that is the right side of the project. So these two markers here is where the slit are to be created, and I'm right at the end of this section, and now I will be doing the third slit. So I wanted to show it to you before then. And I've been going on, we had a whole bunch of markers here the last time I was showing it to you, but now I'm down to just a few more, 4 more, and then I get to the tip of it, after which I would have to start doing the short rows in reverse to sort of bring it back again, and create length on the side. So the pattern is a free pattern, and the designer tells you up front that there is really no pattern support, or, you know, anything, any questions that you have, you just kind of, it's not very detailed, but it's enough for you to gather what needs to be done. And I am not a very, I don't consider myself an expert knitter, or an advanced knitter, but I can tell you that it is pretty understandable, like once you read it once or twice, and I have not yet come to a point where I'm not able to figure it out. So yes, it is something if you do want to check it out, do so, please. It's a lovely pattern. I didn't tell you what the yarns were, and I didn't write it down. Shibui knits, I can never say that word. It's a lovely plum color, and I think it's called velvet, if I can remember. And this is a lovely mohair, kid silk and mohair, kids silk and mohair, maybe. Oh, I don't know. Anyways, I will open up a project page on Ravelry and put up the yarn details on there, because I can't remember them. But it is lovely. It is very, very soft, and it's nice to work on. It's just that I've been a little preoccupied with my other projects for now, this time, and I just got a few rows done on here. Like, I wanted to get up to the next wedge before I showed it to you, and that's where I am now, but I haven't knit on it over the last 2 days. So it has taken a little bit of you know, step aside for a bit, but that's because I've been so working on the Zweig sweater, and I am very keen on trying to finish that, so we'll see. And the third, oh, I didn't tell you about this project bag, and I think the last time I don't know what happened with my editing, the whole part about this project bag got cut out. So I would like to say it again here. This is a lovely project bag that I picked up at the Pittsburgh Knitting Festival when I went back in March or April, and I think it was the beginning of April. And it is by Knits for Comfort. I got it at her booth, but it's one of her friends that actually, did you hear that thunder? I don't know if you can hear it. It is stitched by one of her friends, and I think it's Jessie Lynn, or I am Jessie Lee. I can't read it, but it is one of her friends, and I will put the name up on the screen so you can see. It is a lovely project bag. It's got this nice forest scene to it with owls and like wildlife and this tree house, and I really like the story that the pictures were creating, and this lovely tab pull of a little, I think it's like a bee, and inside is a really nice fabric too. So yeah, it's beautiful. It's a dark fabric, and it looks very nice and very well made bag, I have to say, and it's a box bottom, of course. So yeah, all credit to the maker. It's beautiful, and I really enjoy it, and it's perfect for this project because it's not a very big project. Even though it's a shawl, it's just the yarns are so thin that they fit in here, which is really great. Moving on to my third work in progress. It's in my lovely bag I have here from Eva Faith Etsy shop, polish shop, and I really love this bag. Ooh, you can hear the thunder. I'm pretty sure you would have heard that one. It's roaring. Thunder is fine. It's the lightning that scares me. Okay, so let's try and wrap this up quickly. I am working on the Opal Sock Bunny by a pattern by Susan B. Anderson, and it is a little bunny that I'm knitting, and I am now past the ears. I've completed both ears. I think I had just done one last time. So completed both ears. This is the front of the face. I was supposed to embroider a nose on here, but I didn't have black embroidery thread, or I can't find my black embroidery thread. So that'll have to wait till later when I get one. And now I'm on to the body. And I have put in waste yarn for the arms. The pattern asks you to use DPNs, but I just feel more comfortable knitting on magic loop because I don't want to have any laddering, and I find that I do have a tension issue with DPNs, and I don't want any laddering to occur. So I'm doing it on DPN, I'm doing it on Magic Loop right now. I'm using Chiagu, and I can't remember what size needles these were, but I'll find that out and let you know, maybe next time. Yeah, and so my bunny body looks a little off-centered right now, but it will all be fine once the body, once it's stuffed, because I'm knitting in the round as opposed to on I'm knitting with magic loop as opposed to three DPNs. So yes, there's nothing much to tell you about the pattern. It's very simple in the sense very well worded and laid out, and you just need to follow along. She has you weaving in the ends as you go, which makes the project neat even just to look at as you're knitting it. And the yarn, I think you would like to know that, is this is Strawberry Fields Forever that I've used for the ears and part of the head where I've striped it. And this is lovely yarn from Craft House Magic's Ellie's Etsy shop. And I loved the pink speckles, and I actually had I was wondering how I could use it best, because the yarn is so lovely and I wanted to be able to show off the colors. So I think the bunny will be nice, and you know, it's for a little girl, so it will be nice. And this is what's this yarn? Let me have a quick look. It is Madeline Tosh Merino, and it's called, the colorway is Coquette de. Yes, and this is just leftover yarn from my Color Affection shawl that I hope to be putting into good use here in this bunny. So I'm doing the body of the bunny in that color, and I'll finish the the legs and the feet, or maybe just the feet, in the Strawberry Fields Forever colorway. And we'll see how it goes. So that is it. Those are my works in progress. And this episode, I have not really been prepared with much as way as notes for myself and what I want to share with you guys, except to say that it may sound like I've just done a repeat of last week's episode with my works in progress, because these are the same works in progress. But like I said, like I've just been feeling like knitting on my Zweig sweater more than anything else, and with a little more knitting time with my train rides in the morning, I've been able to knit a little more than I would have otherwise. And being able to do a little bit on the bunny, a little bit on the arrowhead shawl. And yeah, is it the arrowhead? No, it's the arrow caterpillar shawl. And yeah, just enjoying it. So we are almost done with July, and we are going into August. August is my mom's birthday month, and her birthday is next week. And we also have a long weekend around then. We also have a trip planned around the week of the 18th of August, which is for a wedding in the family. And so that weekend I will be away, and so hopefully be able to podcast in 2 weeks, and then after I come back, then do another podcast. That is the plan. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, and I really thank all of you for watching, and I really do appreciate all the support. And we've come to 17 episodes, and I am so thrilled to have all of you as part of my knit group. So thank you very much for joining me. I hope you got your knitting done, or something, whatever you are working on. I hope you got some crafting done, and enjoyed a few minutes with me, and I thank you very much. So until next time, happy knitting. Bye bye.